gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, shout around? It's a Black Gen Z mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
To our newsroom, we have an update from Atlanta police on the shooting that left a teenage boy dead. Police now have identified the victim as 16-year-old Rodney Thompson. The shooting happened on Judy Lane Southwest in the Browns Mill Park neighborhood.
Now that's an interesting name, Rodney Thompson, I believe she said. I hope that he was not participating in the op culture that I have so famously coined on this channel. A lot of young black men have fell to this trap of participating in the op culture, the crash op culture, and it's taken a lot of lives, to be quite frank. And you know, I really just hope he didn't live up to his names, you know, for all of our sakes.
Police are still quite early in their investigation at this time, so information is limited. So far, there's no information about a possible suspect. We will keep you updated on air and online as soon as we learn more.
Atlanta police are investigating another shooting that's left a teen dead and a family mourning another young life cut short.
Yeah. This happened in southeast Atlanta. Don Shipman is live with the First Alert breaking news tracker. And Don, we've learned some new information about this case. Fill us in.
So another teenager shot and killed in southwest Atlanta. Nothing that we aren't accustomed to. I remember when Mayor Andre Dickens was actually sworn in as mayor, and he promised to solve the murder problem in Atlanta coming out of the community, and he hasn't been able to really get his hands around it. I remember initially when he was sworn in, there was a shooting, a 1-year-old Grayson Matthew, and he was there and he was showing his face, and then he was showing up to some more, and he was trying to push the midnight basketball thing. And then, you know, 6 months into his tenure, he kind of fell off of the face of the earth, and he's not really focused on the crime issue anymore. So we're kind of seeing the effects of, you know, just his, I believe, more lethargic attitude when it comes to this crime issue. Now he's trying to spin numbers at press conferences when asked about it. So it's really getting difficult to get some straight answers from, you know, the powers that be in Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly. That boy, only 16 years old. And throughout the overnight hours, police have been looking into and trying to figure out exactly what led up to this senseless violence. This shooting happened in southeast Atlanta in Browns Mill Park. Atlanta police are saying that the shooting happened right around 7 o'clock last night at a home on Judy Lane. This is the 100 block of Judy. According to police, when officers got there, they found the teen inside the home suffering from a gunshot wound. The boy was not alert or breathing. Shortly after, paramedics pronounced him dead at the scene. Now investigators with the homicide unit are working to determine the circumstances surrounding this crime.
We're talking with the family right now, and they are shedding some light on the situation and the circumstances. But right now, we don't have a clear motive at this point.
So we don't have a clear motive, and a lot of times it really doesn't have to be much when it comes to the disputes that go down in the community. But I will say that the parents cooperating with law enforcement is a good thing to get to the bottom of something, you know, so dangerous as to what happened on this fateful night where this young man lost his life. But we definitely need a bigger initiative coming out of the community, because these super gremlins are on demon time.
And police have yet to share if they have any suspects. We'll continue to follow this. We're live outside Atlanta Police Headquarters. Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
And we now know the name of the Southeast Atlanta teenager who was killed in a shooting in the city's Browns Mill Park neighborhood.
Atlanta News First, Don Shipman, live outside Atlanta Police Headquarters downtown. And Don, you went to the boy's home today. You spoke with neighbors.
I did. Now, no one was home, or perhaps, presumably, no one wanted to come and answer the door. But the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office has identified the shooting victim, a boy, a 16-year-old. His name, Rodney Thompson. Neighbors say he...
Rodney, oh God, I thought they said rotten. I was like, oh my God.
recently moved in with his grandmother.
So you heard that detail there. Let's run it back.
His grandmother, Rodney Thompson. Neighbors say he recently moved in with his grandmother.
Recently moved in with his grandmother. What have I told you guys about these GrandNinjas? Yes, GrandNinjas. These are young brothers who are raised by their grandparents, and you know, at this point, grandparents, granddaddy and grandmama, they tapped out. Okay, they can't control this young man. He's too old, and they're too old. Okay. Don't let that one go over your head. But he's at the age now where he's defiant. He's in his teenage years. You know, he's more rebellious, and a lot of young brothers are clinging to, you know, drill rap, drill music, all this kind of stuff at this age, and it's having a big influence on their behavior. So the grandparents cannot control these GrandNinjas. And ultimately, they end up just doing whatever they want to do, getting involved in things they shouldn't. And this is kind of how that eventually rolls into something that is extremely dangerous and fatal, especially for in this situation with this young man.
That's one way in, one way out.
Neighbors say they've never experienced violence like this so close to home.
She said she seen two guys running down, young guys, you know, down this way. But I mean, you know, like I say, it's normally a quiet neighborhood.
Atlanta police say officers were dispatched to 173 Judy Lane, where they discovered 16-year-old Rodney Thompson inside the home suffering from a gunshot wound. The boy was not alert, not breathing. Shortly after, paramedics pronounced him dead at the scene.
We're talking with the family right now, and they are shedding some light on the situation and the circumstances. But right now, we don't have a clear motive at this point.
Several family members converged on the home as homicide detectives interviewed potential witnesses and collected evidence. Hours later, clear signs of a crime committed, still in plain sight. When we walked up to the front porch to see if anyone was home, we also noticed some bullet holes in the front window.
Wow.
And this is a quiet neighborhood. In fact, right up around the corner, we also noticed a daycare.
We've been here about 4 years, and we had no shooting or anything.
Other neighbors who didn't want to go on camera say they noticed a lot of cars coming and going from the home in recent months, and even alerted police of the activity.
A lot of cars coming in and out of the home in the recent months. I mean, bro, you know, he probably had an operation going. You know, he might have been trapping out of grandma crib. You never know. Now this is just speculation, so I'm gonna throw a heavy allegedly on that, but that's kind of what it sounds like. You know, maybe he had something going on, and he trying to mess with the wrong ninjas. You know, if you are in that life, you cannot deal with the thug max alpha simps. You just can't, especially at grandma's crib. You're putting everyone in danger because these super gremlins are on demon time.
And within the last 10 minutes, I just checked with Atlanta police to see if they have any updates. Still at this point, they're not willing to share if they have any leads in the case or any suspects. We're live outside of Atlanta Police Headquarters downtown. Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.
Thank you, Don.
Shooting happened last night on Judy Lane off Old Hateville Road. That's where we find Fox 5's Brittany Edney for us today. Brittany, what's the latest information you're getting from investigators?
Well, Christine, only that they are still searching and trying to figure things out. We did speak with a family friend who tells us that that young man, he was a student at the KIPP Metro Atlanta schools. That family friend also tells us that, of course, all his loved ones are having a really difficult time. Atlanta police say a 16-year-old boy was at home alone when he was shot Wednesday night. Investigators say,
well, thank goodness that the young man was home alone, because if grandma would have been there, it would have been a very different story. And I believe these super gremlins who committed this evil act would have taken out grandma as well. You know, this is the op culture that we're dealing with. This is the crash out culture that we're dealing with. They brazenly go into a home and murder a young man, the teenager. And a lot of times, you know, grandma's coming home and she's wondering what the hell just happened, because the older generation just doesn't get how the new generation is communicating. They're on Instagram Live, they're on Facebook Live, they're hashing out their beefs online. They're going back and forth, participating in the op culture. They're saying, "Oh, you the F nigga," and or ninja rather, you the F, all this, all that. You know, BAN, you know, the B word A ninja, and they're going back and forth and calling each other names until it just escalates and action is taken. And in this case, you know, the young man was not ready for what these other super gremlins were putting down, because the older generation, they're looking at this guy, he's screaming at his phone, they're like, oh, that's just what the young guys do nowadays. They just on their phone playing a game. It's kind of like when the TV came out, but you know, the older generation, they just don't understand how quickly these things can escalate, especially when nowadays you got people dropping a location and, hey, come at me, pull up, then and you know, I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm just telling you the sentiment and the climate of the black community right now.
he was already dead when responders got to the house.
It's senseless, it's stupid. I do not understand what was happening to this world.
Neighbors say they were shocked to see this type of violence unfold in this area.
We don't have things like this happen at night over here. It's pretty quiet at night over here.
Investigators are now trying to figure out what led up to the deadly shooting and who pulled the trigger.
We're talking with the family right now, and they are shedding some light on the situation and the circumstances. But right now, we don't have a clear motive at this point.
While neighbors say the shooter should come forward.
Whoever did this, just turn yourself in, start repenting, and maybe God will save you.
So, as you guys can see, the older sisters, the millennial sisters, they think that we can pray this thing away. And the younger generation, the super teen gremlins, believe that they can spray this thing away. And by spray, I mean spraying bullets. But I don't believe we need to compromise with these super teen gremlins. We need to act swiftly, lock these guys up, throw away the key, make sure that they aren't able to come out and harm anybody else. We need to get a hold on these young men and get a real understanding as to why they're beefing and in these disputes in the first place over nothing. Because, man, if we don't, it's gonna be a long ride. Because these super gremlins, or demon time.
No, and forgive you. This makes absolutely no sense.
Anyone with any information regarding what happened or even what could have led up to the shooting, you are asked to contact the Atlanta Police Department. Of course, remember, you can always contact Crime Stoppers anonymously. Reporting live in Atlanta, Brittany Edney, Fox 5 News.
Let's hope someone does come forward. Brittany, thanks so much.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.